story time, okay? I'm gonna tell you a little story from the life and times of Lynn. So, when I was younger, when I was in middle school, high school, I suffered a lot from bullying. I was on the business end of a lot of different, just a lot of different teenage bullshit that is the kind of thing that makes high school really hell for everybody. As a result of that, I started getting more and more into fantasy and sci-fi as kind of my own little escapist kind of world, and I remember I had an audiobook, big box set of CDs, and it was Martin Shaw reading The Silmarillion. So I went to my library and I got a copy of The Silmarillion, and as I listened to the audiobook, I would follow along in the book, and I just immersed myself completely in this world. And for those who don't know, The Silmarillion is Tolkien's history from the creation of the world of Middle-earth to the Third Age, basically, when Frodo has the ring. It recounts the entire First and Second Age. Everything. It covers the music of the Ainur, it explains who the Valar are, it covers Beren and Luthien, Maedhros' alliance, not necessarily in that order. And it goes all the way up to, it goes with Two Trees and Valinor and Feanor and how he made the Silmarils and how he went across the ocean and, the elves just propagated there, and really cool stuff. And also the Númenóreans and the fall of man, and really great stuff, the founding of Gondor and Arnor and all that. Really good. So, needless to say, Middle-earth has a very personal, deep meaning to me. That was basically what got me through high school. And as well as, just littler tales like The Hobbit. Having said all of that, that is the mindset that I went into with The Hobbit, as well as the fact that the Lord of the Rings films are my favorite films in the history of cinema. They were part of that, they were this amazing, wondrous thing that I felt like, as I was watching them, like I was a part of that. Or I could wish I was a part of that. The Lord of the Rings has an incredibly deep personal meaning to me, and so that is the mindset with which I went into this film. And I gotta admit, one thing that I do always remember when I watch it is the Wingnut films, because I always thought that it was like, haha, Wingnut, like, weird thing. And so when I saw that up on the huge screen when I went into Hobbit, I teared up a little. Admittedly, I was like, this is, because I associate the Wingnut thing with so much with the Lord of the Rings. That's what shows up just before, the title comes up, and it's just, it's incredibly important. So, and the other time that I cried was, and I think I can say this because it happens in the first, 15 minutes, is in a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. And that was like, the minute Ian Holmes said that line, I was just like, I was weeping into my popcorn. Because, I know those seem like the stupidest moments, but they meant the most to me. My personal stuff aside, this film was freaking fantastic. And I know it's been getting a lot of mixed reviews because it seems to kind of meander, but that's, I think, part of its charm, is that it's not a very serious historical volume type film, like almost like a documentary like it is in The Lord of the Rings, because in The Lord of the Rings you have these enormous stakes, all of Middle-earth is in peril, and they're very serious about everything, but in The Hobbit it's more of like, it's Bilbo writing the story, so I always thought of it as a lot of the things that he wasn't there for, he then got the story from that, what happened when he was gone, from the dwarves. So what it ends up being is, it's almost like a let me spin you a yarn, it's, they set off on this great adventure, and then there were trolls and goblins, and they fought their way out of the goblin thing, and they slew the goblin king, and and it all ends up culminating in this final battle. I really liked their inclusion of the Pale Orc, and I think that was a very good decision on Jackson's part, honestly, because it adds a little more depth to the world. Like, Smaug isn't the only threat that they have to deal with. Obviously there's also the necromancer, aka Sauron. A lot of people were kind of complaining because there are little deviations, but mostly they're on the part of world building. They're trying to add history, add some of the things, like, I mean, obviously, you know, the orc is part of Thorin's history in the appendices of The Return of the King. But personally, I'm like, okay, here's the thing. We're probably not very likely to get another chance like this. There's probably not going to be another Middle-earth movie. I mean, we've done The Lord of the Rings, we've done The Hobbit, those are the two biggest ones. The only thing I could possibly be seeing is maybe like a mini-series or a TV series or something that covers, you know, some of the Silmarillion or something, or like certain stories, like a Beren and Luthien mini-series or something. But as far as it's concerned, this is the last Middle-earth trilogy that we're gonna get. So as far as world building, as far as including things in the appendices and including history of Middle-earth, it's now or never. So I would rather have an extra 5 minutes of kind of exposition than never see this stuff on the big screen. So I take it as it is. It's a long movie, you know, they do get a fair amount of progress done. As far as, you know, starting, you had to start when, you know, Bilbo not knowing anything about anything, and then you end, you know, a good deal of the way. As far as that, it does get a lot of stuff done. Personally, I really didn't want it to end. I know a lot of people were like, oh, it dragged on forever, but me, I was like, please don't, no, go further, please be a 9-hour movie. But again, I'm going into this with a huge bias because this is my, like, thing. It's my favorite thing in the whole world. Honestly, and it was kind of sad because I really can't stand The Lord of the Rings Online. I think it's like I don't think it's very good. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with like playing The Lord of the Rings Online, it's just really not for me. On the other hand, I do enjoy World of Warcraft, which I know that everybody's gonna be like, you hypocrite, this is awful, and I don't know, it's a personal choice, I think. I think it's because I've already put so many hours into World of Warcraft that switching to Lord of the Rings and like starting out from scratch is like, ugh. You know? I digress a lot. Yeah, I would give it like a solid 7.8. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. It's better than that. I think an A minus. A minus. So that's like a 9.1. I'm a liar. It's a 9.1. Tom, edit that out. Definitely worth the buy, and actually tomorrow, we're not just seeing the movie, we are seeing it in the high frame rate 3D, which is gonna be awesome, because I've heard some very, very good things about the high frame rate. I just can't wait to step into Middle-earth again. And I'm probably going to do so more than once in the future before the DVD comes out. If you haven't already seen it, please do so. Yeah, thanks. I am the biggest. I wanted to go in costume to the midnight premiere, but Tom and I had to work the next day, so I didn't get to. And then I wanted to go in costume when we went last Saturday, but Tom convinced me not to. Maybe I'll just take some pictures and put them on my Tumblr of me dressed up as a hobbit. I'm an adorable hobbit, okay? Don't even... I like being a hobbit because it's okay to be chubby. Okay, so that is the final verdict. Feel free to discuss it with me. I love your faces because they're beautiful. Yeah, so bye lovelies.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, a favorite, subscribe to the channel, post it on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Reddit, something awful, spray paint on buildings, make a flag of it, get it tattooed in your forearm, get it branded into your forehead. This is SickSlickProductions saying keep the spirit of the movies alive.